Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of DeepSeededGeek. My name is Jason, and I am your host for this show, of course, and it is coming up on Halloween, and what better way to say Happy Halloween than show you my costume for this Halloween, okay? You'll notice that I have shaved off most of my manly Max Payne beard. Oh, I know, it was looking so good, too, but there's a reason for that, and that reason is my costume. Ba-bam! I must say, I do make a very mean Walter White. But that is why this is going on. But enough about that. We're going to get into our show right now. And just so you all know, of course, this is a long episode. So if you want to skip to a section that you want to see first, be it the gaming news, what I'm playing, or my opinion piece, there's little timestamps down in the comment section below. Not the comment section, the show description part. So you can click on those, go right to the part you want to see. So with that, everybody buckle up, we're heading right into the gaming news. Now, if I'm being totally honest, I was a little freaked out this week because there was not a lot of gaming news going on. I mean, I searched all the websites I usually check out, and most of it was just a little bickering about PS4 and this and Xbox and that, and little tidbits about games I really didn't care about. But lo and behold, comes today, last minute. Yes, we get a whole bunch of news that I feel is worth mentioning. The first up of which is some comic book goodness. The trailer for the new X-Men Days of Futures Past movie is up there. So if you want to go check that out, you can. And if you don't know what Days of Futures Past means in X-Men terms, you might want to do a little bit of research, because then you'll understand just how epic this new movie is going to be. It's got recurring characters from past X-Men movies. So you've got Storm, Kitty Pryde, Iceman, Wolverine, of course, Professor X, and Magneto, as well as the cast from the latest iteration, First Class. So it's going to be past and present coming together in this movie. So if that doesn't melt your mind right away, okay, read the two-part comic book series, Days of Futures Past, and you'll see just how much goodness we are in store for. So that's the first bit of news. Check that out. The next one was a strange bit of news. Last week, I believe, announced that the PS4 controller will be compatible with PCs right out of the box. But here's another little bit of news. Apparently, it also works with Xbox 360, its main competitor. Now, I say that, but once I read into the article, once you get past the big headline, you think, oh my god, but you dive into it and you realize, no, it's with a few of those little modifications like Motion Joy that you'd be able to use it on PC or something like that. So some dude was tweaking around with a whole bunch of different little apps of sorts to get it to work, and he got it functioning for the most part. I mean, the obvious things, the touch screen and the sensor bar, obviously that doesn't work with Xbox 360, but the rest of it seemed to be flowing pretty good. So if you want to read up on that, maybe that's another controller you guys can check out for your 360s. The next bit was a bit of a letdown. It was just announced or confirmed that Titanfall, the Xbox One exclusive and PC exclusive, is exactly that. Meaning, it's never going to come to PS4, which kind of sucks monkey balls. But the good news is that Vince Zampella, one of the head honchos over at Respawn Entertainment, he said that, that may be exclusive for Xbox One and PC now for this first game, but it's going to be a series. So future installations, they will definitely come to PS4. So that kind of sucks for anybody who doesn't have a PC or an Xbox One. But I think we'll manage. Moving right along. The next bit of news, this was kind of cool. Speaking again about movie trailers, there was a teaser for when we'll get to see the trailer for Amazing Spider-Man 2. And it was done in the most nerdgasm type way. Mark Webb, who's the director for Amazing Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man 2, tweeted this brilliant little post where it was all written in Elvish. And if you translated it, it said, watch for the new Amazing Spider-Man trailer in front of The Hobbit 3D. So that's just all kind of geeky goodness. I want to know how you write Elvish on Twitter, because I will tell you guys, that's all I'll tweet from now on is just Elvish stuff. And the only person who will know what it means is me. Why? Because I speak Elvish, baby. All right, moving right along, trying to skip over my nerdgasm there, is probably the best news I have heard in a long time. It was today announced that this holiday season, we will be seeing the first episode of the second season of the Walking Dead video game. Yes, my video game of the year from 2012 is coming back, baby. And this trailer shows off, just in perfect Walking Dead form, the past and where we're going. So it's been confirmed that the playable character this time around will be Clementine. Yes, that's right. The little girl we cared about and we loved to bits from the first one. She is our main protagonist this time around. So that opens up a lot of questions, I think. And a lot of emotions that could be played with, you know? Because if you've played through the first season of Walking Dead, you know there are characters you love and you lost, and you love and you lost. I speak great English. But I'm thinking, you know, imagine Clementine in all those situations where you have to sacrifice certain things or you could be killed. I don't want to see Clementine die, but that could be a possibility, you know? So it's gonna tug at your heartstrings all over again. I just can't wait. You can pre-order it right now on Steam, I believe. And as soon as we're done this, I'm going to do that very thing. So that's all the gaming news that I had for today. It's quick and brief, and we're going to go on to what I've been playing. So as a lot of you know, Batman Arkham Origins came out this week, and I was very much looking forward to playing this game. But I never got around to it. I bought it, I have it, it's on Steam, it's ready to go, but I haven't started it up yet, and there's a good reason for that. Watch Dogs has been delayed. I think I said that last episode, but I'm just reiterating it. Watch Dogs was going to be my PS4 launch day title to play. And now that that's been pushed back to next year sometime, I really don't have a November title to dig into. Well, I thought, okay, well, I've got Batman Arkham Origins here. Why don't I make that my November game? And let's play a few games in the meantime. Excuse me. So I got hooked on 2 games. Number 1 was the Stanley Parable. This game is freaking amazing, okay? It is a game that I have been wanting for so long. Not because of what story it tells, but just that it is so new. Or it takes a concept that I never thought would be explored in a video game before. And it does it brilliantly. Essentially, you are a cubicle worker, and you arrive at work to find that nothing is working in your cubicle. So you go out and look for other people to help you, but there's no one else in the office building. And then you come to a set of 2 doors. You can go right or you can go left. That probably looks weird because this is my right hand and this is my left hand, but to you, it's the opposite. Anyway, so you can choose path 1 or path 2. And that branches out into other paths. And those paths branch out into other paths. And so on and so forth. And the whole time, you have a narrator dictating everything you do, like Little Big Planet kind of style. Very British, very charming. And it's just a love letter to all these kind of video game tropes and everything. It is not the prettiest video game you've ever seen. It's a Steam engine, or sorry, I don't want to say a Steam engine because I screwed that up from last season. It is a Source engine game. Thank you, brain. And so it looks vaguely like your Half-Life 2 mods kind of video game. But where it excels is in its narrative and its humor and its diversity in how many times this game can end. It has a replayability factor times 1,000 compared to most games that are out there right now. And I got hooked in for at least 2.5 hours of gameplay. And it's a short game, but the replay factor just made it that more compelling. Every time I went into the game again, I did the same kind of paths and everything, but everything would change with how many times you go through it. It's brilliant. I can't recommend it enough. It's a cheap little game, definitely worth your time because it is so unique. Everybody comes away with it that I've spoken to just going, man, I've been waiting for an experience like that in a video game for a long time. So after I played that, I was like, well, nothing can top this. This is, how do you beat that? I'll tell you how you beat it. Lego Marvel Heroes. Oh my god. I am a huge Marvel geek when it comes to like the comics, the movies, anything, okay? I know my history with Marvel. It's long and very nerdgasmic, and it will pretty much scare off any potential girlfriend I might have with just my geek lore. My Marvel knowledge is deep. But what is brilliant about it, number one, I've never played a Lego game before. Well, that's a lie. I watched my nephew play a bit of the Star Wars Lego games, and they looked unbelievably adorable. I played a little bit of Lego Batman 2, but it wasn't enough to kind of get me into the whole thing. I plan to change that because I heard amazing things about that game. But Marvel, I know so much about Marvel that I could not wait to dive into this, and it did not disappoint. It opens up with you playing as Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk. Then you get to be Mr. Fantastic and Captain America. And just, there are so many unlockable characters. I think there's over 120 characters you can be throughout the game. And the villains that you meet, you'll be able to play them as well. And the level design, it just goes on and on. And if you didn't notice, it's a Lego game. So everything is constructible and destructible. And it's just, it's got so much goodness. And one of the most brilliant things, oh my god, I can't forget to mention this, is the voice cast of this entire game. If you've ever watched any of the Marvel cartoons or the animated movies or anything like from X-Men or Wolverine and the X-Men, Spectacular Spider-Man, what else? The Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, all the voice actors from those games are reprising their roles for this video game. It is a treasure trove of the A-list of voice actors in the video game and animation world. I just can't stress how amazing it is to play as Wolverine and hear Steve Bloom's voice growling in the background like, bring it on, bub. Or to hear Fred Tatarusca, however you say his name, going, Hulk smash! You know, it's just, and the voice of Peter Parker is so pitch perfect. I just, it's, can you tell I'm in love with this game? I've only played 4 hours of it, but jumping from a fully realized Lego version of Marvel's New York, where you can go to the Baxter Building, Tony Stark's Avengers Tower, you can go up on the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier, and everything is fashioned after, if they have a Marvel movie version of themselves, they cast the Lego figures to resemble them. So if you know the movies, you're going to love this. If you know the comic books, you're going to love this. If you know the animation stuff, you will love this. If you ever played with Lego, you're going to freaking love this game. And the humor is so bang on, and the actions of the character, each character moves like their counterpart in the films or in the comic books, you know? Like when Iron Man shoots repulsors from his hands, it sounds like the movie version, and he does the turns and the motions, and when he flies, it looks like it, you know? The Hulk has the best one, and this isn't spoiling. You'll see this like first thing. Hulk occasionally grabs a guy, and just like in the Avengers, like when he had Loki, and he does the boom, 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 hesitates, boom, boom. He does that in the game. It's like, how could you not love that? So Traveler's Tales, the guys who made these games, my hat's off to you. You guys are probably going to be one of my top 5 game of the year just because you got Hulk to do that thing. So I am having a ball with Lego Marvel. I'm going to be probably playing that until I finish every little side mission, the entire story, and when I'm done that, I'm probably going to jump right into Batman Arkham Origins. But as I go along, I'll probably give you guys an update on just all the geeky goodness that I will be finding with Lego Marvel, and yeah, I'll tell you all about that next time. But now, we're going to move on to my opinion piece. I don't know gang signs. So because it's Halloween, I thought what better way to celebrate than give you guys a top 5 list of my scariest games of all time. Yes, I'm going to start off first of all by saying we did our Deep-Seeded Geek Live this past Sunday, which you can see on YouTube. I'll leave a link over here with the video. So after you're done listening to this, you can tap on that and you can check that out. It's a 2-hour discussion between me, Omnimus69, and the Warrior Vagabond. And we talk about the horror genre at large. And so a lot of these games were mentioned in that segment. Yeah, I figured, why not? We're going to go a little in-depth. Me time. This is my show. I'm going to delve into this stuff here. So with that, some honorable mentions that I feel should be talked about a little bit are 3 titles, actually, that really hit the mark in the last couple of years. First of which was very recent for me, as you all know, Outlast. I think it was my first Deep-Seeded Geek video back, I think? I don't know. I played that game and holy hell. I have never had to stop and put the game away and walk away for a little bit because it just made me jittery to no end. So for that reason alone, it gets a mention. I don't know if it's going to be remembered as like one of the pinnacles of horror games down the line, but man, it almost made me wet myself when I did play it. So it gets a mention for that. Next up is Slender. Now, I know a lot of people are kind of over the Slender thing. You know, it's like, oh, so many people in PewDiePie and all these guys just do their face cam, scare videos. You know, I think I did one myself, if I'm not mistaken. And I know I did one last Halloween with my sister as well. And that's partly the reason why this game deserves an honorable mention, because her favorite movie is The Blair Witch Project. And that video game is the closest that has ever come to being in the Blair Witch Project, okay? So that definitely gets a mention. And it is going to be one of those games that later down the road, people are going to look back at it and say, oh, remember that game? That is a cult classic, okay? Much like how people, when they saw the Blair Witch Project in theaters, they came out thinking, oh my god, this is the scariest thing ever. I can't believe that really happened. And then when they found out it wasn't a real documentary kind of thing, they said, oh, it sucks, man. Same thing with Slender. After people got accustomed to it, they're like, no big deal. But for the time, man, it shook some ground there. The last of which is not truly a horror game, but it deserves a mention because it is a tension-filled game from start to finish. Gone Home. Again, a game that's probably going to be in my top 5 at the end of the year. I can't say enough good things about this game. I just love it to bits. And for the majority of the game, I was on the edge of my seat, scared, a little worried about what's around the corner, why the lights are off over here, what was that bump in the dark kind of thing, you know, and just the welfare of the characters that you care about them, so you want to make sure everybody's safe. So that's, yeah, I'll stop jabbering. So Gone Home, Outlast, and Slender, my god, definitely worth a mention, definitely worth a play, and yeah, go do that. But before you do, my top 5. Starting from the bottom, working to the top. Number 5, Demon's Souls. Why is that a horror game in my opinion? Because there are so many freaky ass characters in that video game that you could make a video game based on any of those guys. Like if you had Slender with that one guy who like responds to like the bells that he hears, you know, if you make too much noise, he'll come a running and just gut you. That guy could be a whole video game series in itself, okay? Add to the fact that you're going through this game and it's hard, like you've like you can make a that's what she said kind of joke there if you want, but I mean, it's a video game. Like you go in, if you die once, you go back to the beginning, all the guys that you killed respawn, you are at half life, and if you can somehow make it to the point where the place where you died, then you can get all the stuff that you had been collecting and saving over all that time. Add to that, there are so many varieties of demonic monstrosities. They are so scary, and the level designs are impeccably good. It just keeps you tense the moment you start up the game, the moment you jump into a level, the moment you see an adversary down the hallway. You don't know what to expect because they keep changing all the time. So that, in my definition, is a perfect high-tension kind of horror movie. video game style. Demon's Souls. Check it out. Number 4, which just occurred to me, is perfectly placed. Resident Evil 4. That video game, I've played all the Resident Evil games up until 6. And I took the word of some good friends and resold that game. I bought it, but I resold it. I might play it one day, but that'll be a cold day in hell. I got so many good video games to play. Anyway, Resident Evil 4. I've played 1, 2, 3, and then when 4 came around, I was kind of out of the loop of video games, believe it or not. And it was only exclusive on GameCube. So when it came to PlayStation 2, excuse me, I thought, well, I would like the other 3, so why not? I'll give it a try. Oh my god, night and day compared to the other ones. The first 3 Resident Evil games were hardcore, slow-walking zombie games and puzzle quests and just jump scares. This one was like a village of the damned backwoods, like Czech Republic village there, and it was so drastically different from what I had ever played in a Resident Evil game that I was like, I had to check the box a couple of times because I wasn't sure that I got the right game. And it looked gorgeous. It still looks gorgeous to this day. But what killed me, literally and figuratively, was that first kind of contact with the villagers where they just see you and they're like, kill him, and they just come at you and you barricade yourself in this kind of house and you're running around looking to go somewhere and do something. And it was one of those moments where I spent like 3 hours going, what the hell do I do? I have no idea what to do because I didn't know the gameplay mechanics. And they don't really give you like a lot of prompts as to what to do. So I kept dying and dying and dying. And I was so frustrated with it. And then I just looked up on, I think it was either the internet or a friend, because I don't know if I had internet at the time. And he said, no, man, you just grab the shotgun. I'm like, where's the shotgun? So then I find the shotgun. I'm like, okay, I got the shotgun. And I empty the clip. And I'm like, well, now I die again. And he's like, no, you got to grab the shotgun and then jump out the window. What do you mean jump out the window? So I grab the shotgun, jump out the window. And then I'm like, I'm in the middle of all of them. So I run into a new room and I barricade that door. And then I find grenades. I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? How do you toss a grenade? And before I could toss a grenade, the chainsaw guy comes in and he slices me in half. I'm like, oh, I love this game. And so once you get past that first trial, you feel like a man. You feel like you could do anything. I mean, you cheated by calling people and finding out how to do this thing, but it was just so intense. And the game didn't let up from that point on. And it was a great story, as campy and cheesy as it could be. It was a brilliant horror game. And yeah, they've done some HD remakes for it, and I've bought every single thing I can. Resident Evil 4 is still one of my favorite games, and it is ancient, okay? So anyway, that was number 4. Moving on, number 3 should come as no surprise that it's on the list. Probably a shock that it's not number 1 for a lot of you. Silent Hill. Now, if you've watched the 2-hour horror special that we did on Sunday, you know what I'm going to talk about. The one iconic video game moment that scared little boys when they played it on their PS1s way back in the day. That goes for Dean, that goes for Corey, that goes for Mike. The telephone scene. If you've played this game, you know what I'm talking about, okay? That scene alone still haunts me to this day. I mean, nothing has come close to being as freaky as that one scene, okay? Like, this is a game that the entire atmosphere is just haunting. You walk into this fog-laden little town, you know, that probably populated 2,000 people, okay? It's decrepit. It's falling apart. It looks like it's sinking back into the world. There are, like, dogs with inside-out skin. There are, like, pterodactyls flying overhead for some reason. There are little girls with knives coming at you, okay? And then a foghorn, an air raid siren goes off, and it turns into the world of Hellraiser. And then the freaky things are even freakier, okay? All that, and the one thing that scared the bejesus out of me was a phone. And if you play the game, or you have played the game, you know why. Silent Hill, you still give me nightmares. Moving right along. Number 2 is Dead Space. That game just had everything that I could want in a horror game. It did it perfectly. It had that feel of Event Horizon and Alien and just this helplessness that is just so rare in video games. And it did it all without making you feel like a complete badass. It gave you tools, you know, like the plasma cutter is an iconic weapon and so cool. But even with that, you were still semi-helpless because your entire video game knowledge was just headshot, 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 boom, headshot. That's right. And this game said, nah, you got to cut off limbs. You got to be strategic. You got to be a surgeon to survive in this game. Otherwise, you are going to die a painful, horrible death from the most incredibly frightening creatures I have ever seen in a video game. All right. And as repetitive as it did get with some of the locations throughout the ship, gameplay-wise, it just didn't stop. The whole tagline from Alien was, in space, no one can hear you scream. This video game took that and created a world, a gameplay, a terror that is that tagline come to life. So Dead Space, I love you. And I haven't played Dead Space 3 yet, so I hope there's a little bit of that still left in the series, but we'll see. But with that, we come to the number 1 scariest video game of all time, in my opinion. And that is, no surprise to anybody, Amnesia: The Dark Descent. There are thousands of videos out there with people freaking the frick out over Amnesia: The Dark Descent because it is that scary. That game knows how to scare you, knows what your deepest, darkest fear is, and it put it into a video game form, okay? It gave you this whole thing like, you don't know what's going on. You're in a strange place. You're in the dark. You are being chased by something that you don't know what it is. Go. That simple concept has freaked out millions of people around the world. It freaked out my sister, okay? And it is still one of those games that I keep going back to over and over again because no matter how many times I play it, there are still certain things that happen throughout the game that, like Bioshock, for example, where which should be on the list as well as a scary game, where you could go through certain things and it never happens the same way twice, okay? So you'll be going through the wine cellar, and all of a sudden, you hear the creature in the background. Where you thought, like, from your last playthrough, there was no creature in that area, so you thought you're safe. Nuh-uh-uh. It changes every time, so the horror is always palpable. It is always there. Amnesia: The Dark Descent, I will play you probably on an annual basis from now on because you are one of my all-time favorite horror games. You are my all-time favorite horror game. So there you guys have it. There is my top 5 of horror games, but now I pass it on to you. What games have scared the crap out of you? What are your top 5s? Leave that in the comment section below and I will respond in kind. And with that, we're going to say thank you very much for watching this Halloween edition of Deep-Seeded Geek. If you dig it, you know what to do. Hit like, hit favorite, share with your friends and family on Facebook and the like. Send me a message on Twitter. I'm DeepSeededGeek or at DeepSeededGeek, however Twitter does it. I'm not really big on Twitter. Subscribe if you haven't already. I put out new videos every Wednesday, of course. And the special monthly section where we do a live Deep-Seeded Geek on Google Hangout. The next one is going to be November 24th. And that will be at 5 p.m. That is a Sunday, all right? So I'll leave the actual description over here because I think I really screwed up telling you when it is. Again, that's November 24th, 5 p.m. But I'll keep you updated next time on Deep-Seeded Geek. Until then, have a happy Halloween, everybody, and we will see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.